Sairam to one and all my lovely children. Today I am going to elaborate a module called Spiritual Strategic Management. Generally, the students who are pursuing their management course, either BBM, MBA, Chartered Accountancy, Company Secretary, or works accountant, whatever may be, those who are in the finance side of learning, they might have heard about the management. Right from the household, a homemaker, to the top-notch managers and the directors, they always speak about the management. And this management definitely have some strategy. Management means strategy. Without strategy, a management cannot pursue. And in the present world, although the strategies are being made, but unable to manage it. There are many lacunas. Why so? A person is well qualified, achieved a degree of masters in the management, running an industry, running an institution, having wide experience and exposure in the business managerial issues. Still, many of the things are unmanaged. So, why this management is required? How to approach that management? And if we only apply the strategic management in all the institutions, is that good enough to understand the concept of management? That's what? No. First of all, every person who are in this world, who have some objectives, aims in their life, before stepping ahead into any part of strategical management, they should have their own in-depth of knowledge. And that is why this module has been introduced for the young generations as well as for the elderly managers, how they should work out with a module called Spiritual Strategic Management. Spiritual is something great. Spiritual is not related to any religion. Never mistake. It is not related to any religion. Neither it is related something to caste, color or creed. Spiritual is very within in every individual. Spirit actually is the spiritualism. And the spirit are the so-called, what we use the term in the Sanskrit, like Atman. That is present everywhere. In English we call it as energy. That energy is everywhere and that energy cannot be surpassed. What is available in the very nature in all animates and inanimate. That is, that spirit or that energy or the Atman which actually is, which cannot be denied. So every person must try to understand who is he, what is he, what he needs, and what strategy is to be followed to achieve that. Unless he is not realized who is he and what is he, then he cannot make a measure what he requires and how to achieve that. Now let us define what is spiritual. फिर से कर देता हूं. Let us define what is spiritual. Spiritual as such is a non-physical entity that has a growth, development, values and needs. Now when I say a spiritual is a non-physical entity, in Bhagavad Gita, a quote has been given that there is no birth or death for the Atma. It never dies, it never have any birth. It remains stagnant. And it is that Atman this body is experiencing. Without that Atman, body can never experience. So Atman is the medium, or that spirit is the medium, and when it merges unto the body, it makes the body to experience. But is really this body is experiencing? No. Body has some developments in the form of growth. So physical structure are getting changed only by mere spirit, existing of spirit in that body. So this transformation, mild transformation of the body is not the real experience. But that growth, whether bodily wise or mentally, that is through intelligence, whatever the growth that takes place in one's life is only because of that spirit. So that spirit, when it advances, experiences by experimenting many things, it has definitely a growth. That growth makes that spirit to explore itself into a higher level. There comes a development. For instance, when a baby, after 6 months or 7 months, or even after a year, when it tries to learn to say father, mother, it feels that it has a growth. Initially it was on the bed, it could not make it realize, or it will be in the laps of parents. Secondly, it starts crawling, it has a growth, transformation in the body. Not only in the body, in the sensory faculties there is a transformation. Then it starts holding the wall or some object and it tries to get and stand. So again there is a transformation that has a growth. Then it tries to perceive, it tries to learn many things. It tries to identify the objects. Definitely it's a growth. So, who is experiencing? Body is there, but body is not the main subject. There, the child, mind, it has a growth. It develops that. So, the development of the mind is a growth. When it perceives many objects, it tries to identify it. Parents teach them. When it starts identifying different things, that has a growth. So, growth is not only with the mind. When it tries to comprehend certain things, that comprehensions, that makes a sense for that child, where it learns from I grown up to this state, now I develop further with my knowledge, that is comprehension. What kind of knowledge it gains? When it identifies and distinguishes my father, my mother, my siblings, my relatives, my home and my surroundings, like that, when it starts distinguishing and identifying the objects or the subject, there it is a development. So bodily growth and intuitively there is a development by knowledge, gaining of knowledge. Then experience. When there is a knowledge, that ultimately leads to experience. Now I have a knowledge. My knowledge is not an experience. My knowledge is a knowledge. It can be a bookish knowledge or it can be hearsay knowledge. But when that experience I acquire, only when I implement that knowledge into action. When I start implementing into actions my possessed knowledge, that experimentations at different levels makes me to realize and experience many things. In some places, I may commit mistake. In some places, I may try to rectify my mistake. In some places, I may try to give a better shape to my implementation. All this process leads me to an experience. So, undoubtedly, there is a growth for that spirit. There is a development in the form of knowledge by that spirit, and that knowledge, when it has been implemented, that leads to experience for that spirit, and it develops the values. Either you can say moral values or the business values or political values. Everything in every sphere of life, there are values. Certain values, when you follow that, then only your mission can be achieved. So who is achieving? It's not your body which is achieving. It's not your mind which is achieving. Mind is a transformation, it has a growth, it has a development, that's it. But the inner experience is really realized by that spirit. So when it gains that experience, that leads to values. It realizes, yes, because of my earlier ignorant mistakes, out of ignorance, whatever I committed the mistakes, I rectified that. When I rectified, that rectification becomes a value for me. So like that, it realizes. And with these values, finally, it steps ahead into need. What kind of need? Satisfaction. What kind of satisfaction? Now, everyone in the marital level, when we see about an announciation, they may look at the perspective of finance. If they earn very good, they will be happy. That is their need. If they meet the objectives of the announciation, that is their need. So if they find all their employers and employees have achieved their target for the organization, that is their need. But this is not so with the spirit. That is a common mission. Whereas for a general mission, to understand what is spirituality of a person is that what is your need